This week inside Crust and Crumb Academy, we're baking challah. And today, I want to tell you where this bread comes from, because the recipe is only half the story. The other half is the meaning that's been kneaded into it for thousands of years. Let me say something up front. I'm not Jewish. I'm not teaching religion here. I'm a baker who fell in love with this bread. And the more I learned about it, the more I understood that you can't really teach challah without teaching what it means. The word challah comes from the Torah, the foundational text of Judaism. In the book of Numbers, there's a commandment to set aside a small portion of dough whenever bread is made and give it as an offering. That portion was called challah. The word didn't originally mean a loaf at all. It meant the piece you separated. Over time, the word migrated. The portion you separated, and then the whole loaf you separated it from, both came to be called challah. The bread carries the name of its own commandment. That tradition lives on today. It's called the separation of challah. Many observant Jewish bakers still take a small piece of dough before baking, say a blessing, and burn it as a symbolic offering. The bread itself, what we shape and bake and share, is what's left after that small piece has been set aside. The form of challah we know best, the soft braided loaf, came much later. As Jewish communities settled across Europe in the Middle Ages, the braided shape became associated with Shabbat, the weekly day of rest that begins at sundown on Friday. By the 1400s and 1500s, in places like Germany and Austria, the braided enriched loaf had become the standard Shabbat bread for Ashkenazi Jewish communities. The shape we recognize today is largely from that European tradition. On Shabbat, 2 loaves of challah are placed on the table, covered with a cloth, with 2 candles burning beside them. The 2 loaves recall the manna that fell from heaven in the Torah story of the Israelites in the wilderness. A double portion fell on Friday, so the people wouldn't have to gather food on the Sabbath itself. The 2 loaves on the Shabbat table are a remembrance of that provision, every week, for thousands of years. The cloth that covers the loaves matters too. Tradition holds that the bread is covered so it isn't shamed, because at the Shabbat table, the wine is blessed before the bread, even though bread is usually blessed first. The cloth is an act of consideration toward the bread itself. That's how deep the respect for this loaf runs in the tradition. The braid carries meaning too, though the meanings vary across communities. Some teach that the braid represents the intertwining of family, community, and faith. Others say the 3 strands stand for truth, peace, and justice. 6-strand braids are said to honor the 6 days of creation, with the loaf itself standing in for the 7th, Shabbat. 12 humps on a 6-braid loaf are sometimes said to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. These interpretations overlap, contradict, and coexist. The tradition is rich enough to hold all of them. For Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, the shape of the bread changes. The challah is formed into a round loaf, sometimes a spiral, often dipped in honey. The round symbolizes the cycle of the year, the continuity of life, and the hope for a sweet year ahead. The bread shape itself becomes a prayer. Now, here's the part of the story that matters to all of us, whatever our background. Challah is bread that was built around the act of sharing. The separation, the covering, the 2 loaves on the table, the cloth, the blessing, all of it points to the same idea. Bread is not just food. Bread is what makes a table a table. A loaf, broken and passed from hand to hand, is the oldest gesture of welcome we have. That's why this bread crosses lines. You don't have to be Jewish to feel the weight of a braided loaf on a table with people you love. You don't have to know a single prayer to understand that some meals are different from others, and that the bread on those tables deserves a little more care. So when you bake your challah this Saturday, you're not just following a recipe. You're stepping briefly into a tradition that stretches back thousands of years. You're baking a bread that was designed from the beginning to be shared, to be welcoming, to mark the moments that matter. You don't have to keep the tradition to honor it. You just have to bake the bread well, and pass it to somebody. The recipe is the technique. The meaning is the gift. Come bake with us.